Two men spent nearly a decade making money together, and then they stopped. Not over creative differences, not over respect, and not over anything particularly philosophical, over a paycheck, or more precisely over someone else's paycheck which turned out to be bigger, and the discovery of that fact in public. To understand how we got here, you need to know who these two men are, and what they each built, and what they each assumed the other owed them. One was in a Tom Cruise movie, but then he got blackballed and then you never saw him in anything of that level ever again. And the other has been perceived to be one of Black America's biggest culture vultures amongst many critics. We're going to take a deep dive into the recent feud between Aries Spears and DJ Vlad. Starting with DJ Vlad, let's go. Vladimir Lyubovny, aka DJ Vlad, was born in Kyiv, Ukraine in 1973 to a Russian Jewish family living under a Soviet system that didn't particularly welcome either of those things. When he was 5 years old, the family emigrated to the United States and eventually settled in the San Francisco Bay Area. He was a break dancer in his youth, drawn into hip-hop culture through the Bay Area scene of the 1980s. He then went and got a computer science degree from UC Berkeley, which in hindsight was a more useful qualification for running a media business than anyone probably expected at the time. He worked in Silicon Valley for companies including Intel and Sun Microsystems, and in 2000 started his own tech staffing company. Then he gave all of that up to move to New York and make hip-hop mixtapes, which most people would not call a logical career pivot, and yet he co-founded the Rap Phenomenon mixtape series, which picked up recognition from Rolling Stone, MTV and XXL. In 2008, when YouTube launched its partner program and began letting creators actually make money from their content, Vlad dropped everything else and went full-time on the platform. That same year at an awards event in Houston, he was beaten up by Rick Ross's entourage after covering a story about Ross's previous career as a corrections officer. He filed a $4 million lawsuit, won $300,000 from it, then went straight back to work. Made it very clear to anybody who wants to attack him, you guys use your fists, I use lawyers, and when it's all said and done, I'm going to sue you, get paid, and then I'm going to carry on doing exactly what I was doing in the first place, talking about yous. What he built over the following 16 years is now one of the most watched interview platforms in hip-hop media, with over 6 million YouTube subscribers and a catalogue that reaches billions of views. His most viewed interview, a sit-down with Boozy Badass, has over 21 million views. Vlad's philosophy from day one was simple: chop everything into short clips, post constantly, and let the internet do the rest. He kept all ad revenue himself, no profit sharing with guests, and he took 100% of the financial risk on every single interview he produced. Now on the other side of the table, Aries Spears. Born in Chicago in 1975 and raised in New Jersey, Spears was doing stand-up comedy by the time he was 14 years old. His first big break came through Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam, the HBO platform that launched careers before most people had even heard the word podcast. From 1997 to 2005, he was a regular cast member on Fox's Mad TV, appearing across 8 seasons and becoming one of the show's most recognized faces. His impressions were the centerpiece, mimicking celebrities such as Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, DMX, Denzel Washington, Mike Tyson, and Shaquille O'Neal. A roster of targets that requires not just vocal talent but real cultural fluency to pull off convincingly. He also appeared in Jerry Maguire alongside Cuba Gooding Jr., voice characters in animated series, including The Proud Family, and was a regular on the stand-up circuit. After Mad TV ended in 2005, Spears continued touring and releasing specials, but the entertainment landscape was changing around him faster than a lot of people in his position could easily navigate. Then in August 2022, he and Tiffany Haddish were sued by a then 22-year-old woman and her brother over 2 comedy sketches filmed when they were minors, which alleged sexual abuse and grooming. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice the following month at the plaintiff's request, meaning it could not be refiled, and Spears' attorney had called it a shakedown from the start, but the cloud that came with those headlines didn't disappear entirely just because the case did. Aries Spears first sat down with Vlad in 2016, and what started as a straightforward interview arrangement grew into something considerably more valuable for both of them. They had chemistry, the kind that's genuinely difficult to manufacture and tends to produce content that people want to share. Spears was funny, unfiltered, and willing to say things on camera that most people would choose to keep to themselves.
This think is a homosexual.
Then TikTok happened. Clips from their VladTV interviews, largely bits where Aries and Vlad riff off each other on the kind of topics that tend to travel, started circulating on TikTok at scale. Spears himself acknowledged the virality at the time, noting that the clips brought attention to his name and were helping to fill seats on his comedy tours.
Listen, man, if going viral is a good thing, and certainly you and I didn't plan on it, and that's what it is, I'll take it.
According to Vlad, those viral moments led to sold-out comedy shows for Spears, including a venue seating 3,000 people in Connecticut.
Out of everyone that I've ever had on my show, like in terms of regular guests, I have seen Aries benefit the most because he went in the beginning from doing small comedy clubs to when our stuff started going viral and it started getting, big on TikTok and so forth, things just absolutely took off for him. He got his, and he talked about this on camera, the biggest show he's ever been paid for, Saudi Arabia. He did his biggest venue ever. He was doing clubs of maybe 100, 200 people. He did a show in Connecticut with 3,000 people. He did a show in LA at the Novo Theater that I went to support. That was 1,400 people. He's doing the best he's ever done, and I was super, super happy for him.
Vlad also noted that he doesn't see a single dollar from those TikTok posts or the ticket sales that follow them. What Aries was earning per interview on VladTV has been widely reported at approximately $4,000. That number is very important because Spears was going around in interviews telling people that Vlad was paying him 5 figures, not 4.
It ain't like I'm on there for free. He pays me.
Correct.
He pays me a nice 5 figures.
Yeah.
So if my choice is either stay home on a Tuesday and do nothing and earn nothing, or go sit down for an hour and a half and walk away with 5 figures where I can not make anything, what am I gonna do?
No, I agree.
I'm gonna make the money and I get to check them.
Most people just took that for what it was and just rounded it off that DJ Vlad was paying him a number in the rough regions of $10,000. But what's then led Aries Spears to then pick up this grievance with DJ Vlad was finding out that another interviewee was getting paid 6 times the amount of what Aries was really getting. He was the catalyst to all of this, and he goes by the name of Boozy Badass. Boozy had been one of Vlad's most consistent and most viewed guests over a 20-year relationship, with their most popular interview alone sitting at 21 million views. For that level of performance, Vlad had been paying Boozy $25,000 per interview, but Boozy's viewership had started to slide down somewhere between 10 and 15% according to Vlad, and when Boozy came back asking for $35,000 per interview, Vlad's maths didn't work. Vlad explained his position plainly. If he paid $35,000 and the video underperformed, he wouldn't make any money and might take a loss after production costs. Boozy then went live and announced he was done with VladTV, showed his home camera setup on stream, a chair in front of a lens in his living room, and told his audience he would be doing his own interviews from now on. The internet was divided. Some thought Boozy was making a smart move. Others were less convinced that a chair in a living room was quite ready to take on a 6 million subscriber operation. Aries Spears was watching all of this. The knowledge that Boozy had been earning $25,000 per interview while Aries was on approximately $4,000 was apparently not easy to sit with. Spears began pushing for more money. He also raised a second issue. He claimed the clips from his VladTV interviews were actively damaging his prospects for acting work. He asked Vlad to remove some of the content. Vlad said no on both counts, and this is where the relationship starts to visibly fracture. Now, there's something worth sitting with here. Aries told Vlad the clips were hurting his acting career. The same clips that just months earlier he had credited with selling out his comedy tours. A difficult argument to make from two directions at once. Vlad took his response to his own platform and had himself interviewed by DJ Academics. He confirmed he had already given Spears a raise before this dispute even began, and that Aries' view counts were not in the same territory as Boozy's. He also pulled the curtain back on what working with Aries actually looks like behind the scenes.
My staff would always complain that Aries was disrespectful to them.
Joe Budden weighed in, which, given that he and Vlad have spent roughly 15 years finding reasons to dislike each other, was not the response Aries Spears was probably expecting. His assessment of Aries Spears' position was surgical and not especially sympathetic. He placed Spears firmly in the category of someone who should be grateful for any arrangement currently in place, rather than renegotiating from a position of leverage he does not possess. He referenced the Tiffany Haddish lawsuit as a factor in where Aries Spears currently sits in terms of public perception and industry standing. He also made the observation that the Mad TV era was a long time ago, and nostalgia is not the same currency as a current view count. Mark Lamont Hill, appearing alongside Budden, made the same point from a data angle. The raw numbers on YouTube did not support the argument Aries was making. Vlad responded to their clip on X, thanking them both for explaining how basic business works, which, coming from a man who's had a 15-year feud with Budden, is a sentence that would have surprised most people 6 months ago. Tony Yayo also came through VladTV for his say, which, given the circumstances, required a certain kind of nerve. He opened by joking that he too wanted a raise like Boozy and a makeup artist like Aries. He then drew a comparison between Aries Spears and Young Buck, the G-Unit member who publicly aired financial grievances about a deal he felt cut out of, and in doing so began a process that ended his time in the group. The parallel was Vlad's idea first, but Yayo co-signed it, noting that in both cases a platform had helped build a career, and the moment someone went public with the money conversation, there was no realistic path back. Yayo directly pushed back on the Culture Vulture label, describing Vlad instead as culture conscious and crediting Vlad's platform for expanding his own career reach, including overseas touring opportunities he credited VladTV with unlocking. This is not the first or second time someone has left Vlad's domain in a verbally confrontational way. Lord Jamar, Godfrey, Marlon Wayans, Tyrese, the list of figures who have had public friction with VladTV over money content or the question of who owes whom, what is long enough to constitute a pattern. The recurring argument from guests is always some version of, I gave you credibility, I gave you access, and now you won't give me what that's worth. The recurring counter from Vlad is always some version of, the views tell the story, the money follows the views, and I bear the risk. Both of these arguments are true at the same time, which is what makes the dispute structurally unresolvable. Then Aries Spears posted a video on Instagram. In it he called Vlad a coward, a narcissist, and a hypocrite, and he zeroed in on one specific thing Vlad had said in the Academics interview. Vlad had opened that interview by saying the two of them were never friends, just business. Spears said that was a lie, and Vlad had told him to his face on multiple occasions that they were friends, that the moment Aries asked for more money, the version of events conveniently disappeared. He also brought up the shows, claiming Vlad had come to his comedy gigs twice on free tickets, and both times asked to be shouted out from the stage, which, if accurate, is a slightly different picture of a man who publicly insists he prefers to stay behind the camera. Spears also made an offer. He said he would come back on VladTV one final time for free to debate the whole thing on camera.
I'll come on your show one more time for free. You ain't gotta pay me shit. And we could talk about it right then and there so we could get the truth. Because there's three sides to the truth. Your story, my story, and the truth. So don't be a coward. Bring me back and let's go through it.
Vlad didn't take him up on it. Then came the next move, and this one wasn't just a simple clapback. Aries Spears announced he is suing DJ Vlad for defamation, the basis being that Vlad made false statements about him publicly, which has now resulted in further damage to his reputation.
You have a lawsuit coming. You're lying. To the people that watch Vlad, he is a liar.
What started as a pay dispute has now become a legal matter, meaning whatever either of them say from this point forward, this will likely now be filtered through lawyers. This is a notable escalation because defamation cases are difficult to win and very expensive to bring forward. Aries filing this means he believes DJ Vlad has said something specific that crosses the line from criticism into falsehood, and that he's prepared to prove this inside a courtroom. And Vlad, for his part, has been through this before. He's not one to fold under legal pressure. The story's still unfolding, so we'll cover it as it proceeds. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright?